I was a terrible listener. But I just know that when I do it, it works. It has worked. So that's why. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Yeah. So why did I pick this topic? Well, because, like me, maybe you've experienced a lot of conflict in your relationships. Maybe you have friends or family members who I don't want to talk to you. I'm angry with you. And that, you have experiencing people just rejecting you, and it hurts, right? We get this all the time in our family. It's normal, but it really, really hurts. So what do you do? What do you do? Are you contributing to some of this? Perhaps. And the other question is, do you want to have more respectful and peaceful and closer and loving relationships with your family and your church family and your friends? Then we all need to learn how to listen to them instead of talking at them. And that's what I was so good at, talking at people, interrupting. Let me teach you. Let me advise you. And so I was causing a lot of anger. I was contributing to the conflict. So I really had to change myself. And then I learned that listening, it is the best way to build love, trust, and respect. It is the best way, the fastest way, the most simple way. And we all need love, trust, and respect, don't we? It's the cornerstone of all healthy relationships. You need love, you need trust, you have respect. If you build that into yourselves, and it's got to start with ourselves too, right? I have to love myself because I receive God's love, so I love myself. That's why I love myself. He loves me. I respect myself. I listen to myself, and therefore I can do this for other people. You see? Sometimes we just totally deny ourselves. We miss us in the picture. We're like, yes, love God and love others. Hello, are we missing loving ourselves? You cannot love others unless you receive the love from God, you receive it for yourself, and then you can love others. So everything we receive from God is an overflow of what we receive, and it overflows onto others. So that's how it works. It doesn't go God and you, but you're in the picture. Yeah, and I just want to share a couple of stories. After I taught this message at a camp, one of the fathers came up and he had tears in his eyes, and he said, "Thank you for the teaching." He said, "My son, he's a teenager, and I was scolding him, and I was just talking at him, and now I realize that I just need to listen to him." He said, "Thank you so much." And he was very, very touched because he knows that is what he needs to do in order to earn his love and trust and respect back. And then we had a couple come to see us, and they have a teenage daughter. Was very angry with the dad. The dad and the daughter are very similar personalities. So there's this clash. She's clashing with each other. So angry, talking, shouting at each other. And the dad was always telling her what to do. You go do this. Don't do that. You're going to that school. And then so we said, why don't you bring some repair into this relationship? Why don't you, Dad, turn all your demands and your statements into questions? You're like, would you like to do this? What do you think about this? And their relationship started to come down from so much anger and I'm not talking to you to, yeah, okay, I'm listening, Dad. And so she began to trust her dad again. But it's very hard for him because he'd grown up, just like telling, talking, shouting, demanding. We do these things because we learn it from our parent. We learn it from our parent. We don't question it. We don't challenge it. And we should. We go, if this is not working, if this is causing so much pain, what do I need to change? Where does it come from? Why do I do what I do? So we need a lot of self-reflection, self-awareness. We need to build that into our lives constantly. So now we have one big problem in our culture is that we think that talking is more important than listening. Because if I talk, I know what I'm talking about. But if I'm just listening, am I being weak? Am I just knowing nothing? This is a cultural mindset, I have to say, that we need to break. And it's actually in the Word of God, how our cultural thinking and norms are so different from what God says. And it's in James 1:19. to 20. And it says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." Look how God connects quick to listen, slow to speak, and what? Slow to anger. How is this all connected? So if I'm quick to listen, slow to speak, I will also be slow to anger, and this will result in the righteousness that God desires. Because he says that human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Righteousness, right relationships with people. When we are right in our heart with God and with people, we have peace, don't we? We can think clearly. We're calmer. We feel better about ourselves. We're more energized. This also affects us physically and our health. So that's the best piece of advice ever in the Bible about listening. God is a great listener. Hey, do we all pray? He's listening. Is he not a great listener? How many people is he listening to right now? Right? So I have to say that Stan and I, we learned a hard lesson raising teenagers. They're in their 20s now. We have a close relationship with our children because we learn to listen to them. We learn to listen to them, to understand them. Oh, I tell you, it's been a big challenge. You know, because young people, they don't want to be told what to do. They want you to connect. They're looking for connection. Do you know that social media and getting on to the internet all the time just drives up that connection? You know, so many people, young people are lonely because they're so addicted to their screens that they're withdrawing from the world and no longer talking to real people around them. They would rather look at their screens and connect to their screens. But there's nothing like a real person, a mum and dad, a family member coming and say, "Hey, what's been going on? Would you like to share? Yeah, I'm listening. I want to hear what's been happening." And so young people are seeking connection. They want understanding. Okay, and they will do what you want if they get to choose it. So, as I was talking to a couple of parents before, you don't want to demand it, you don't want to command it. You want to say, what do you think about this? Would you like to do that? Yeah, and so also, what about fighting and arguments, right? They always blow up in your face, don't they? Like I want to go and talk to my spouse, I want to talk to my husband, I want to apologize, but somehow it just escalates and it blows up into fighting, so much anger, so many tears. And that's because deep down we have so many hurts that we've suppressed, that we never talk about, that we never bring up, because we've learned not to listen to ourselves. We don't know how to listen to ourselves. We don't know how to bring that up to God. But also we don't know how to bring that up to people because we feel that people will never listen to us. They don't know how to listen to us. Well, I say start with yourself. Listen to yourself. There are so many skills that you could learn and it's actually called emotional regulation, how to know what you're feeling, how you're feeling, what to do with your feelings, and how to calm down. That's listening to yourself. So listening with understanding begins with listening to yourself. And so many misunderstandings happen, right, when we're not listening. And yes, so fighting and anger, they always go hand in hand. And the best way is to be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Okay, so in a simple way, we're talking about us practicing active listening, right? So active listening is just, well, we're not going to do this part tonight because I took so long to learn this part, reflecting. So when you ask a question, the other person talks and you reflect. It's like, so you said this. Oh, you felt this way. Right. That's a skill that, it takes so long. It's so hard. So tonight we're just going to do an exercise at the end. One person's going to talk, the other person's going to listen, and all you're going to do is ask a question back to what you're listening to. So we're going to do this really fun exercise tonight. And let's see how you go, because it's challenging. So that's what active listening is. It's reflecting and asking to understand more. And of course, underneath that, of course, you need to have the heart first, right? You need to be, try to learn how to be more empathetic, feel with people, feel for people. As I said, you can't do that if you're not doing that to yourself. If you just hate yourself, you hate your thoughts, you're uncomfortable with silence, you're uncomfortable with yourself, how do you actually be kind and loving to another person? You will be a better listener if you're more self-aware, you're patient, and you can have more empathy. But these skills are easy to learn. If you have the heart, if you're willing to learn, you're willing to change, you're willing to face the pain, you're willing to exchange short-term pain for long-term gain. So it is painful to change, but a short-term pain for long-term gain, even gain into eternity. So let's look at why we love to be listened to. This is deeply wired into all of us. God is a listener. He's made us in His image, and He's made us to build connection and trust in how we listen to others and how others listen to us. So, it's all that here. It's how we feel loved. So someone listens to me, I feel loved. I feel understood. I feel you care. The second thing is, it's just how we connect deeper, right, with the other person. If I get to share my heart, then I'm letting you into my world. And then we create a bond. These are very applicable in marriage too, by the way, obviously. Yeah, I learned a lot of this in marriage. The wrong way first, by making all the mistakes and causing so much pain. And also, I don't know if you realize, but if you talk to your friends, talk to God, talking to someone else helps process your feelings. So we need to always, why talk therapy works really well? If you've been to counseling, talk therapy is one of the interventions, and you're just basically talking. And I was really didn't understand the power of that until this drive down to Rotorua, and there was a connection for me. And it's like this. So when you start talking, so if you're a person that never talks, then you may not feel very much. Then you may not know yourself very well because you've got suppressed a lot of things, like in a suitcase, a whole lot of clothes that are just jammed in there, your feelings, and you want to shut the suitcase. You can't. It's just going to spill out and explode all over the place later. That is what happens when we suppress our feelings. You will explode at some point or feel very deeply depressed. So talking, why is it important? Because when I start talking, right, I start to bring up memories. So when I'm starting to talk, I'm starting to share, then I remember this painful event. And then because I remember, I see the picture of it, my emotions come up with that. And then I might have tears. I might feel sad. I might feel upset. You see how it all has to come to the surface? And it has to come to the surface in order for you to heal. Suppressing it just makes it worse. It actually is the number one cause of mental health problems. Suppressing your feelings, feeling like I can't talk about this, I will not talk about this, I have no feelings, I have no past. That's toxic. That's very unhealthy. So we need to unpack our past. We need to process our feelings. And sometimes you do need to see a professional to do that because they, empower you with certain skills. And also it helps when you talk to a stranger because they're not that biased. If you do have a deep problem, talking to a person you don't know is better because they're not biased. They're not going to pick sides. They're more neutral. Yes. So, I encourage you guys. If you want to be a more open person, if you want to be more honest, if you want to know yourself more and what you're feeling, then be prepared to be vulnerable. Be prepared to talk to someone you can trust. Number 5. Then again, if you have a hard time talking with people, close people you care about, this might be why. And particularly for parents to teenagers and, older children, they just fear being judged, criticized or rejected. I mean, who doesn't? And maybe there are built-up unresolved issues that so you're not talking about them, they're not talking about them. I mean, this is how distance happens in any relationship, right? When no one's being honest and talking about their true feelings and no one's saying, hey, what's going on for you? Can I hear? Would you like to share? Or maybe you want to share with someone else? And also there's that fear, they're going to get angry. They're going to shout at me and scold me and tell me off, so I'm not going to tell them the truth. And then there's there's a lack of just a general lack of trust in the relationship. And of course, all these things, if you are judging, if you're criticizing, if you're rejecting, of course there's going to be a fear there, isn't there? Of course. So are you that safe space for the one you care about, for your family members to come and to share and open up to you? You have to make yourself that safe space. So there hasn't been enough, maybe there hasn't been enough quality time spent with that person. So sometimes parents think, because I'm their parent, I want you to know what you're thinking. Tell me right now. But it's like the child is like, no, you never spend any time with me. Why would I want to tell you? So sometimes we have to build trust back in. We have to earn trust. Trust is earned. Trust is not automatic, okay? We cannot expect to trust another person. They have to earn it. And we have to earn it, earn our trust with other people as well. It works vice versa. Of course, forgiveness is a choice, but trust is separate and it needs to be earned. And you also need to learn to trust wisely, but that's another kind of equipping there as well. And another thing is, maybe they've experienced hurtful or offensive situations before, maybe in your last discussion or debate or whatever, that it hasn't gone well. And so how do you repair that? Because if the last time that's their reference to, that was so painful, opening up and telling my mum or dad or my sister or my brother, and I just got slapped in the face. I mean, not maybe physically, but maybe just like dismissed. And it's all dismissed. They're not going to want to talk to you. So again, creating that safe space, build back in trust, do small things to build it back up. Right, okay. So what about looking at what listening is not then? Because sometimes we have ideas that, oh, I can be a great listener because I believe listening is this. And so listening is not self-focused. So it's not like, hey, can I tell you what I think? Can I share with you? Oh, this is what I think. You want to listen? It's other person focused, okay? And it's not interruptive. Now, this is so hard to do because by nature, we're very impatient. But also, if you don't make the intentional space and time to listen, you're going to go, oh, I've got that meeting in 10 minutes. Quick, tell me what you want. Get very impatient, then anger, because fast to listen, fast to speak, slow to listen, right? So, and listen is this one, parents, listening is not giving advice, answers, or solutions. That's not listening. Here, let me give you this advice. Oh, here's a solution. How about this? Sometimes we are in that mode. We're very solution-oriented, especially us in our culture. We love solutions. And maybe the male side, they like solutions. Where us wives are going, I just want to be listened to. I already know the answer. Just listen. Okay. And it's not teaching at them. Oh, let me teach you this. 1, 2, 3. This is how you do it, okay? Do it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do it. Stop that. There's a time for that when they're ready to receive that. It's not lecturing. Let me tell you this. This is how I did it in my day. You can do it now, too. Just like me, I did. And this is the worst part, shaming. Shaming, putting them down, criticizing. Oh, you're so silly. You can't even do that. It's so simple. Can't you see? We do these things. You know why we do these things? We're not self-aware. We don't notice that I'm actually being quite hurtful. I'm actually being quite toxic. I'm actually need to change. Right? Okay. And also listening is not agreement too. So don't worry if your friend or someone is telling you something, just because you're just listening and, like asking them questions, it doesn't mean you agree with them. Sometimes we're too afraid. We get into an argument or fight because that's not right, that's not right. This is the right thing. It's not that. No, you're listening to understand them. They have their point of view. It's okay. I have a different point of view. It's okay. I'm okay with it. You see? So this is a place we need to get ourselves, that we need to be okay and need to be comfortable with very uncomfortable feelings. And that's something we need to learn. This is part of discipleship, right? Disciple yourself. Okay. So then what is listening then? Okay. So obviously it's when I'm listening to somebody, it's all about you. When I prepare myself to listen, it's all about you. I'm here to understand you. I'm here to know more about what it is that's bothering you. And it's so hard, being patient. That's why James says, quick to listen, slow to speak. Oh, it's that patience. Maybe if you notice you're very interruptive and you're very impatient, it's like, oh, that's a character issue. I need to work on that. I'm actually being very impatient. And our kids are very good at pointing out all our sins. Like, Mum, you're not even listening, Mum. And sometimes we can get offended as parents, right? And we can lash back. But I notice I hold myself back. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's right. He's right. I need to change. That's the hard part for us, swallowing our pride. So it's also I love this one. Somebody said, being curious, right? So I want to learn everything about you. That's why I'm asking you a lot of questions. That's why I want to really understand. And somebody said in my counseling class that it's like, put yourself into the frame of, I know nothing about this at all, but I'm so curious to learn everything about this. So if you develop that attitude, you become very curious and you will begin to ask more and more questions instead of telling, lecturing, advising, demanding. And it's listening to showing understanding. So if I listen to someone, I'm showing I really want to understand them. And of course, listening is respect. It is a form of respect when we're prepared to listen, sit with that person and listen to them. We're showing them respect. Parents think that respect is only one way. I'm sorry to tell you, it's two ways. Everything has to be reciprocated. Parents respect the child respects the parent. It's two ways. We need to probably have a proper understanding of respect, and it's nothing to do with their actions. It's to do with the person. See, God respects us. Respect is honor. The word respect means to honor, to place a value upon. So if I respect you, it's because God does this to me. God values me, He honors me, and that's why I value you and honor you. And your actions and your behavior, that's separate. So number 8. Okay, let's get down to some practical things, and we're going to do an exercise, which I'm really excited about. Me and Stan will do a demonstration. I'm sure you'd love that too. So, all right, now let's go. How to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Can I have a fan, please, Stan? So I brought my fan. I do get overheated. Okay, now say you have a conflict in your home, or there's been a fight with one of you and a child, or you and your spouse, or you and a friend. And so I really want reconciliation. My heart is, I want to reconcile. I want to repair this relationship. I want to repair this conflict. And so you have to prepare yourself to just listen. But you have to be prepared emotionally and physically, because if you're not, you will get triggered. They might say some angry things, and then you start feeling angry, and then the whole bad cycle starts again. So you do need to prayerfully prepare yourself. Maybe you want to write down your questions, not your speech, your questions. So prepare yourself physically, as in like, I'm not hungry, I'm not cold, I'm not hot. I just want to be fully there for that person. And you want to prepare yourself emotionally. Check your heart. Do I still have bitterness? Do I still hold on to a grudge? Well, I need to work through that. I need to be calm and clear. And I need to be ready to listen to them before I have this talk. Okay, so there's lots of work we need to do on ourselves before we approach the other person. Because what happens is when we're not ready to listen, things blow up. Okay, number 2, make the time and space to listen. So that means you're going to put away your cell phone, because you're making the space like, this person is important. I am going to make the time for them. And so they feel this from you. They see this from you. So honestly, no phones, because that text comes in, that call comes in, and they're like, and you just get interrupted. And then if it's somebody very young, they might go, oh, there you go again. You're on your phone again. You don't care, you know. So you want a quiet place, right? In your house, maybe in a car, wherever you find a quiet place, nobody else is knocking on your window, nobody else is, Mom, I need some food. You want to be uninterrupted. And this is for spouses especially. I know when you have young children and children are demanding your needs, it's hard to find a space for yourself to go to, a quiet place where you can talk with the other person. And so you always start with an open-ended question. So we all know what open-ended questions are. What? Hi. Wow. What? Why? Yeah. What's been going on? How do you see this? Why do you think that happened? Right? So you've got to practice those open-ended questions, not with a yes or no answer that you can get back. Do you want this or that? Oh, that's the end of the conversation. Do you like this, yes or no? No. That's the end of the conversation. I'm sure you guys know a lot of open-ended questions. Okay. And stay present by being focused and attentive. So, you don't want to be like looking at your phone, looking at your watch, being very distracted. You want to look them in the eye. Okay, you need to look them in the eye. You need to be present, fully present. Body, mind, eyes. Don't worry, you're going to practice this soon. And watch your own body language, your tone of voice and your gestures. And you have to learn how to read other people as well. But read your own body language first so you know how to read other people. So, are you in a relaxed posture? So watch your body language, tone of voice, not a shouty tone of voice. Appropriate tone of voice, respectful tone of voice, gentle tone of voice, a voice that invites them into the safe space. So obviously observe the other person's body language, tone of voice and gestures. And here's the magic thing, last point. Now, when you ask them a question, right? And then you're just going to listen. You're going to only respond with a question. Nope, you're not going to respond with a statement. It's like, you're not going to respond with a lecture. You're not going to respond with a talk. You are going to respond with a question because you've been listening so well to them. You're tuned in to what they're saying, and that's why you ask. All right, so that's the end of this message. So we're going to do an exercise where we'd like you to get into pairs